Every single thing that appears or not appears, it is all God. God is pure consciousness. And when this consciousness say, let there be a tree disappears. And when the consciousness says, let there be a falling tree, the tree falls down. The God that seems to be the purpose of our being, and we search for that God is pure consciousness. So that means when our consciousness is not directed to some object, it is pure, and then it is God. That's why it is said to be silent. Silence is the voice of God. The pure consciousness that God is lives in all beings. It lives in you now. When your mind does not take you out in this world of materialized objects and wantings and distraction, when the mind does not take you there, your consciousness remains empty and it is pure. And pure empty consciousness is God. When this God, this consciousness says, let there be a tree, then the tree arises. Although it is only consciousness, there's not a real tree arising. It is just an object in the pure consciousness that was empty before it created this image. And when the image takes over, it goes on and on and on, and you will lose that empty consciousness, the God inside, and you will go into that world of creation where you are so merged in and lost, and you yearn to come home to the emptiness that you really are before there was this creation of the tree or whatever object. When God says, let there be a tree, the tree arises. And I bet that now you see a tree. So where is this tree coming from? Is it from my words? Is it from God? Is it from a seed that grew into a great tree in the nature? It was a seed indeed, but not a seed in the nature. It was a seed planted in consciousness, and consciousness made that tree appear. And when consciousness says, tree, disappear, then you see it fall down, and emptiness is there. You know how it works, creation? It is all in the mind, in the consciousness, and you search for the empty source where this all started. When you search for that emptiness, you feel the bliss and the happiness, because there is no distraction that takes you out of that bliss and happiness. Whatever arises, whatever you can imagine in your consciousness, it can never give you bliss, because it doesn't exist. It is only consciousness. It is awareness that makes up forms, images. You can never be happy of images. Like you can never be fed when you are hungry and you only read the menu. When you read the menu, you will see, nice, 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 and your hunger still goes on. So that's all imagination. Consciousness pure is the God. That's your own free, empty self. The best ever. Bliss, bliss, bliss. So don't try to find God in a certain way or a certain form or a certain possible visibility, because when you do that, you exclude him from all the other things that he is, because every single thing arises out of God. Every single thing, because God is consciousness, and consciousness can make all forms. They appear in consciousness, and then we are used to be attracted to the forms. And you have no idea that you are attracted to an object in your consciousness. That's what happens. Everything is in your consciousness. You are conscious of some things and then you are attracted by it, or you push it away. But it is just an appearance in your mind, in the spirit of God. God plays all the roles, and he is the one great empty consciousness, and fills it with images. And our body form, our personal being, is one of those images in God, in his consciousness. So he plays with all the forms that arise, and he of course can do whatever he likes with all those forms, but he gives the forms the opportunity to discover what they really are. So you know what you think you are, then you do things and try to get something or not. That daily life, that is not your reality. Your reality is the God, the empty consciousness in where you appear in. You are an appearance in the consciousness of God, and God's consciousness is empty by itself. It is always empty, and what appears in it is just his play, his imagination, and that's what you are. You are an image in consciousness of God. So you are free. You cannot even become captured, because you don't exist. You are just an image, like the Donald Duck in the book, being angry at his neighbor and quarreling, quack, 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 quack. He is just an image in the head of the one writing it, Walt Disney in this case. But also Walt Disney himself is an appearance in the, the consciousness of God who plays with all forms, and then when the time is there, he gathers all the forms and get them back to his empty state, and that is the bliss that we can discover. Although we don't exist, we can discover our bliss of that non-existence. And that is our real being, not to have a form. Oh, what a play, what a game. It's amazing. It's amazing. A mystery. You are not there and still you are. Or you can say, you are, although you are not there. It depends on what you see as you. I am God. Happy, happy, happy. What you are is pure emptiness. Nothing of form is existing. Not in you and not in the idea of the outer world around you. It is not existing. It is a matter of consciousness filled with imagined objects, and the proof that you are empty, you can find that in a dark night when there are some stars. You can see the vast, deep, cosmic realm, and then you look and you feel, wow, amazing space. And you can see that and experience that because your consciousness is not filled with objects. When you are in the normal busy day doing your things, you are surrounded by objects and forms that take your attention, and when they don't take your attention, they still fill your being with their forms. In your house you can see it's full of stuff. It's lamps and a table and books and a window and plants and curtains and cushions. All objects that fill your consciousness. Maybe it gives a sort of nice atmosphere, a sphere of feeling good, feeling cozy, and this is my place, I am good here. Yes, that's very necessary in this world, as long as we think this is our being and we live here. Then you need a sort of warm place to feel good. But even that, those objects fill your consciousness. And that's why you say in the night when you look up at the sky, and you see only a little twinkling star, you say, oh, a beautiful star, beautiful, but you are not attracted at the star. No, it is this gigantic space that touches your own space that you are. Your consciousness is not taken by all sorts of things. So then, at that moment, you meet your own real self, the pure consciousness. And in the daily life, we are so taken by forms that we have no chance to meet ourselves there. And we are so used to it that we keep on finding a company and things to do. If we are alone, we can take music or look television or newspaper. We do things not to be alone. Most people are afraid of being alone. They are afraid of their own silence. And that's the best thing for your soul, to not be occupied. And meditating is that state. First there is the concentration. Then you concentrate on like on a candle and a flame, and you concentrate on it to direct your attention to the one point. And then there is the contemplation. That means you are from the inner knowing, you start to understand why this candle with the flame gives peace, because you are not directed to other forms. And then there is this meditation. There is not a single thought anymore. You are this flame or silence. And while you have that state, you still can do the things that are in the day needed. But if you see the space of the cosmos, you feel your real being. That's good. That's your true being, the pure consciousness without any object. That's the best ever. That's your reality. Enjoy it. And slowly, slowly, it will fall away. All the objects in your mind, the things that take your attention, they will drop one by one until the emptiness remains. That's what you are. Happy state, bliss. When all objects that are seen are not real and not even existing, how come that all of us, not only you, but the ones around you and people in your house, see the same objects when they don't exist? Well, it could be if you alone would see that object, it's something the matter with you. But all of us see the same object. We feel the same cold, and we don't like the rain and get wet. It's all one awareness in so many forms. How come when it doesn't exist that all of us see, well, whatever is seen, a house, a building, whatever? Well, that's because the consciousness, the imagination in all of us is the same one imagination. And what we think of it, all those persons, our opinion, that is different. One thinks it's nice and the other thinks it's not nice. That depends on your personal growth and what you prefer. But we all see the same object that does not exist. Doesn't that show that there is only one imaginator, one dreamer? And that dreamer is making objects and forms, and all the separated people have in that thing that they see a different opinion. That is mind. So what we see is one, but what we think of it is the mind. And all of that is not existing. It is just appearing in the mind of the one dreamer, the one that imagines all. There is only one, and that is the I am. And the I am imagines forms. But before that I am, there is not a single form to be seen. It is empty consciousness, empty awareness. It is pure. It has nothing to see. No forms, nothing. That's what you really are. It's so funny that there's only one great imaginator that imagines so many forms. And there are so many people in that great imaginated world. There are so many people, and they all see the same one imagination. I just said that because it's funny to understand. For instance, there is a tree in a park. It's simple. There are 10 people, and they all see that same one tree that is imagined. So there must be one imaginator in 10 people. And the funny thing is that those 10 people all see the same one tree. But one says, oh, it's a nice tree. And the other says, it's an old tree. I don't like it. And another says, oh, it's a good tree. It gives shadow. And another says, oh, this tree, it takes all the sunlight away. Then there is another who says, I don't like the tree. I prefer others like an oak or whatever tree I like more. And there are so many different opinions of that one same imagination. You see what happens on this earth? You lose yourself in the creation, in the imagination, and we all billions forms of humanity lose themselves in the same imagination, but in that same one imagination of this world, they have billions of opinions. And that's why in one imagination there are endless wars going on. Because people don't think. They just follow their daily personal ignorance. And then they think the others are wrong. And that's why there is so much pain and suffering in one imagination. So go back from your opinion about stuff to what do I see actually? What is it that I see? What is it that everybody sees? And then you go back to that understanding there's only one seer. And that one seer has imagined all these forms. But it is one seer in one imagination. It is all dream. And it is your own dream. That's the most funny of it. You go into your dream and you want to change the dream. That's impossible. So, of course, there is trouble and pain and suffering. But wake up and there's nothing to see. It was all imagination in the consciousness of that one great being that made up all these forms. And you know what? It all happened in a blink of an eye. Boom. World, no world. Boom. Object, no object. It is amazing how lost we are and how we urge to come home. We yield to come home. We will go home because we are home. Only the understanding of it. It's good. Happy, happy, happy. First, there is this existence, but no one to know about it. This existence is sort of intelligence. It has the power to become. And because there is nothing to see, it becomes creation. This silent being makes up creation, and in this creation countless forms, and we all are one of those countless forms created by this silence. And why were we created? So that this silence, where we came from, can recognize itself by going into forms and sounds and movements. And that's what we do. We are silent, but we go in a form and we see all other forms that we were created at the same time, in the same creation. And it was done so that this silence could recognize itself. But what we do, we go into that form that we have learned or have used, that we may use to discover our being. We enter in that form and then we go discover what we are, but we go discover what we are in our form. We were not made up to see our form and to know about our form. We were made up to know about our formlessness. Formless is what we are, and form is what we became. And then in that form, we are trying to find the bliss in the form. That's the illusion that is born out of Maya, because this form that we are, created out of silence, is Maya. This whole world is mind. It is not real. But we see, all of us see it in the same way as a reality. And then in that seeing, we go separate ways. We try to find our bliss in moving separated objects that we are. It's impossible. Of course you cannot be happy here. And if you would be happy, it would be happy in a sort of mind structure, because there is nothing here. There is no existence. So how can you become happy in existence? It is not about becoming something and finding something there, it is for finding the real self where all appeared from, and that is not Maya. Maya is what came out, and illusion is what came out and divided itself. So all of us see the same thing, but all of us have an opinion about it, different. And that, I told that already, I spoke about it because it is so tenacious it is so, it grabs you and you cannot get out. Because you always give it a new energy every day, again and again. You stand up, I stand up, everybody, and it says, I will do this today. But you will not do that today. It is not true. You are not existing. The day is not existing, and what you will do or not do is not existing. It is Maya. And if you like what you do or don't like what you do, that's illusion. So the further you go into the illusion, the further you go deeper into the Maya and deeper into the non-existence of what you really are. You are. That's non-existing, not in a form. You are formless. Can you imagine that? An empty room with nothing in it, and outside of that room all the world is blah, blah, and temperatures and snow and sunshine and seasons changing and trees with leaves and falling leaves and all that is happening, and people passing by and having that clothes on and having a new car, and all that is passing by outside of that empty room which you are. So what do? Do you open the door and go in that noisy world, or do you shut the door and close the windows and close your eyes and close your ears and be so extremely happy? We have to be lost so long before we finally give up. And all of this happens in a flash of an insight. I make an imagination, I see I'm not that imagination, I know what I am about that. But it takes ages because we like the imagination. We like to go out and we like to discover new countries and we like to see other people. But it's all Maya, illusion in Maya, Maya over illusion, and we are so lost. Give yourself that reality. Be what you are. That's the greatest bliss. When you go out and it starts to rain and storm and it's cold, and oh, how happy are you when you come home? Well, coming in your real self is 1 billion times stronger. Don't spoil the time you have. Use it to be nothing. That's the best